So today's speaker is Brittany. Brittany is our PMSF Registry Coordinator. She joined the PMS IR team in 2018 as the coordinator. Before joining the PMS IR team, she was a laboratory genetic counselor at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania and Claritas Genomics in Boston. She also spent time working as a prenatal counselor for Integrated Genetics. Brittany is a certified genetic counselor, and she received her Master of Science in Genetic Counseling from Arcadia University in 2011. So I am going to turn this over to Brittany. We are going to do not another presentation, but an actual live walkthrough. So let me send that her way. Okay, Brittany, you're live. Go ahead.
Awesome. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you.
Great. So the idea of this, I'm just going to go step by step through the registry. Some of this is going to be very simple, very straightforward, but I'm hoping to show you something that you might not have known and that can be helpful. So this is the homepage of the registry, and where you would click right here to register. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to create an account and show you step by step how to do that. So when you click to register, the first thing you see is understanding your participation. So that first thing on the top about July 2014, this was around, well, this was when an updated consent went out. So if you registered after July 15, 2014, you filled out that consent form. That's the only one you had. This sort of doesn't pertain to you. But if you registered prior to that date and have not gone back into the registry, you would need to update that consent form to continue into your profile. And if you're not sure if you did that, there's a few things you can do. You can always email me and I can help you figure out if you updated your consent form. Also, if you had registered before 2014 and you go to log in and you did not reconsent, it would make you do that first before letting you go into the page. So if you kind of log in and it takes you right to your profile, that should mean that your consent's all squared away and you should be fine. Really, this changed just because we had new opportunities come available that we wanted to include in the consent form so everyone was well aware. And so this part is telling you that you should not create a test account, which is what I'm exactly doing right now, but I can do it because I'm going to delete it right after. The test accounts can become an issue because it kind of skews the numbers, it can skew the data. So really, if there's ever a question that you're trying to figure something out in the registry, please feel free to email me, and I can get you the information you need or answer your questions. Like I said, a test account can really cause some issues for us. This is an instruction about the registry. I'm not going to read it all to you, but it's definitely there. And again, if you have questions, you can always email me. This is the update about the consent form and why that happened, so you feel free to read that. And then here are a lot of questions with answers about what is a registry, why do we have the registry, what's it useful for. So just some basic background information about the registry. Again, I'm not going to go through all this in detail, but if you do have specific questions, you can always ask. So when you scroll down, and again, my email should be plastered all over the place on here. So when you hit next, this is the consent form. So when you're creating a new account, you have to do the consent form. And it's important to read through each part and answer with what you're comfortable with. The whole point of the consent form is so that you can tell us what you want. So if you say yes to everything, but you don't want to be contacted to learn about, that's not the one I was looking for. Like if you don't want to be contacted for a clinical trial, you can say yes to everything else and put no for this, and then we won't contact you for anything like that. So this really tells us what information you want and how you want to get it. So this is very important. For right now, because that won't let me go through once I answer them all, I'm just going to put yes to them all. And this one, if I have had the opportunity to ask questions, if you put no for that, that's fine. But really, I'm not going to send you things and all until that says yes, because I want to make sure you have all your questions answered. So if you put no to that and are able to answer your questions, it's always important to go back and update this to yes when you're comfortable with that part. And I'll show you in a little bit how you can always update. So like if you did put no for one of these and then wanted to put yes or vice versa, I will show you how to do that as well. So for this, I will type in my information. All right, this autofill making it difficult. So this is about who is entering information. This is not about the patient. Let me use test account so that I can find it and delete it as soon as we're done. For the password, it's important. You have to have a capital letter and a lowercase letter. I believe it has to be 8 characters long. You have to have a special character and a number. So you just want to make sure you follow all those rules in picking a password. And then you have to agree to terms and conditions, which you can open and read all of the terms and conditions about the registry. Again, I don't think it's beneficial for me to read them all to you, but if you read through this and have questions, you can always contact us there. And then I agree to participate in the registry. That one's sort of important because if you don't want to agree to participate in the registry, you shouldn't finish the registration process. So that's a good one to make sure you click on. And it's important for me to mention all of these yellow spots are spots that are required to fill out. And then these question marks here are just to give you some more information about that line. So this one is telling you about entering a valid email address, and that this email address is sort of how we're going to contact you for things. Username, giving you rules about that. This is the password, so this tells you about the 8 characters, at least 1 lowercase, 1 uppercase, 1 number, 1 special character. So these throughout the registry should help you answer some questions for anything you might need more information about. And then this is just to make sure you're not a robot. So once that's all done, you can hit create account. Hopefully my computer doesn't go slow. Didn't do it. There we go. Now this is the information you would enter about the person in your family who has PMS. So I'm just going to make up somebody. Mary Tess. She is a female. Top one, fine. Birthday. I'm going to make her a little older just so I can show you one of the questionnaires. City of birth. Primary language, English. So you can see there's all different information to fill out. This is the only option for this. You know, everyone in our registry should have a diagnosis of Phelan-McDermid syndrome, and that is why they're registering. So that is the information about the patient. This is for contact information. I'm going to use my old address just because. Country. So we have families I hit the wrong one. All over. There it is. Okay, I knew it was at the top. Okay, I'm not going to enter primary care physician information. Well, I guess I could just do Dr. Joe. His address, first street, what have you. So this is just where you put primary care physician information. Again, it's not a required field, so you don't have to put that in, but it is a place to put it. This is if you want to change your password, which right now I just created it, so I don't want to do it, but I will come back to show you how to do that once you have everything registered. Just to review, it shows you all of your consent information again, just one last look over for all your information, and then you can hit submit. Now when you hit submit and yeah?
Can I interrupt you real quick?
Sure.
We have a question that's come in. If any of this has changed or needs updating, how can you go back and make those changes?
Good question. So I am going to show that. once we can get to the profile tab. So I should have that on my things to show, but Jackie, if I for somehow forget to mention it, please feel free to interrupt me again.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you. Perfect. So once you hit that submit, it sends you an email to your account, sort of a welcome letter, and it takes you right into your first questionnaire. These questionnaires are long and they do take a lot of time, and I am going to go through some more information for those. But just to show you, you don't have to do it first thing. You can start right in and just get the questionnaires out of the way. But if you don't want to, you can just click profile, and this will take you to your profile. So this is the name of the patient, Mary Tess. This is what her profile page looks like. She's registered by her mom. That's me. And this is all the medical questionnaires. The top three to do are the clinical questionnaire and developmental questionnaire. And if the person with Phelan-McDermid syndrome is over 12, this one is important to do. Now, if they're under 12, this one won't even show up. So if you have this one here, you should be 12 and older, and you should have to do it. If they're only 10, this shouldn't be there at all. These other questionnaires are good to do, but these are our primary ones that we focus on right now, and they are about 100 questions each. They do take some time. This is where we add documents. So when we're asking everyone to upload their genetic reports, this is where they go, and I will show you how to do that. This is the account information. So in a moment, I'm going to go in here and show you how to update your account to answer that question. This is, again, my email. If you're having any issues, this is a good place to send questions to. And screenshot is always good. I know it says it here. You can even take a screenshot. If you can, if you're having any issues with the registry, a screenshot is helpful because sometimes I might not know what's going on, but I can then send that to the company that manages the registry, the website, and get their insight into what's going on. And sometimes a screenshot just helps them get to an answer quicker. This is just some, as it says, just a few points to get you started. This mentions how important the questionnaires are. This is, what the registry is looking for information about patients with Phelan-McDermid syndrome. So really, not having the questionnaires filled out, it's sort of a blank registry account, and the questionnaires really are important for the research. This, I am going to go over in a little more detail when we go over the questionnaires. But if you have something that you want to update, unfortunately, so you spend the whole time doing the 100 questions in the clinical questionnaire, you did it all, but in a year something changes. The person now has something different clinically that they didn't have before. If you go in and just change that one question, what it'll do is it'll change it completely. So it'll look like they always had that. It won't look like it's something new. If you go in and take all 100 questions again, it saves the original 100 questions and adds the new 100 questions. So then we can see the change over time. So when we're driving you crazy that you need to now fill out these crazy long questionnaires again, that is why. It's really to collect data over time. You might not always be able to see your old answers. So if you've taken the clinical questionnaire 4 times, you won't see your original answers. You'll see your most current. But I have access to all of them, which is very important. And if you ever had any questions about that, I can definitely help you get figure out what you need to know. This we already talked about the reconsenting and what that was, why that happened. And again, it mentions here, if you're not reconsented, go to your account, and it won't let you get anywhere until you consent. So really, if you're seeing this message, you've already consented. And then this is telling me that the welcome to the registry email was sent to me today, and I have not opened it yet. So that's what the profile page looks like. So I'm going to start with the account information. So that's me, my email. And so as my email changes over time, that's something you need to update, because that's, again, how we're going to contact you with any information about if we have questions about your entry in the registry, or if there's any research that you might be interested in, new information. That's where we're going to contact you. So when we hit update, it brings you to everything I answered before. So this is, again, information about the patient. This is the contact information. So if your address changes and you move, you can update it here. If you have a new phone number, you can update it here. If you get a new primary care physician, you can update it here. If you have a new email, again, very important, you can update it here. If you want to change your password, you can do that here. I don't think you can change your username. That's set. But that's where you can update that. Now, how I said before, if you had put no to one of these and then wanted to switch yes or vice versa, here's your consent. So you can update that however you need to. So if I want to put no, I now have questions, I can hit submit and it's now going to save my consent form that way. So that's a way to look at what's in the registry as far as your contact information, your consent form, and how you can update it. Oh, brought me back here again. Now, if you did forget your password or username, really, I wonder if it'll take me there. I'm logged in, so I'm not going to log out right now, but if I was logged out and I couldn't remember, this is where the information would go. It would be your username on top, password, and then it has one of those buttons, sort of looks like this, the green text, where you can, click to you forgot username or password. That's where you would go for that. And if you're having any issues, again, you can always email me and I can help you figure that out. I can help you get, so if you forget your username, I can give you your username. I don't have access to what your password is. So if you forgot both, you can email me, I can give you your username, and then you'd have to click that button to update and create a new password. So looking at the questionnaires, if we go into a questionnaire, so I'm going to go into the clinical, just to sort of show you how this works. So this is the first page of the questionnaire with the next button at the bottom. The ones that you have to fill out have an asterisk. The ones that you don't have to fill out do not. So like this one, has the patient been tested for any of the following conditions? Well, we couldn't make that mandatory because they might not have been tested for anything. But essentially you can fill in a question. I'm just putting different things. I'm just going to fill these in real quick so I can show you the next step. So if you happen to be filling this out and you forgot a question, you know that your child or your family member has a deletion, but you forget, is it 13.2, 13.31? You forget exactly what it was on the report. You don't have the report with you. It's tucked away somewhere and you don't have time to get it. You're going to skip this one and go on. You can't do that. You can stop and come back, but once you hit the next button at the bottom for this page of questions, they're saved. You can't come back to them. So if you forgot a question, it's better to just stop, find the answer, and then start again. With that as well, so if I was working on this and someone came to the door and I stopped working on it and went and talked to them for a half hour and came back, it's going to look just like this, but I'm actually probably going to be logged out. So I've had people who contact me saying, I filled all the whole questionnaire because they click next and they keep going, and none of it's saved. A lot of times that's because you got kicked out and didn't realize. So if you go away from the computer for, I would even say even just a couple minutes, just because it takes, you don't want to spend all this time doing the questions, just log in again, make sure you're logged in, go to the home page, make sure it didn't kick you out. So that has happened before. So I just wanted to mention that if you sort of take a break, just make sure you're logged in before you continue again. So I just want to make sure I got all the ones. There's another one. There it is. Does the patient have seizures? And then I hit next. So I finished this page of questions. I didn't want to finish it, so I pushed profile. So now it takes me back out to my profile page. The clinical questionnaire is the one I was working on. It shows me that I left off at 13%, and it has a complete button instead of a start button because I started it. So once I'm ready to get back in, again, make sure you're logged in because it will log you out if you leave and come back. You just hit complete, and it will take you right back where we were. So this is where I was, and then I can sort of go in and put in those answers and continue on. So that's the information about the questionnaires. Please feel free to send questions in. Again, these top three are the most relevant ones to start with. about 100 questions each, so they do take some time. So there's no real rush. You know, take your time, do it. And first, if you need to, if you're the type of person you just want to dive in, get them all done out of the way, and then update, you know, in a year or so if there's something new. So that's sort of the information about the questionnaires. Then this is the document section. This is where, again, you would add if you have genetic test information results. These are real important. And we've been asking a lot of people to upload them. If you try to upload them and have any issues, you can always get them to us and we can upload them for you. So when you're going in to upload a document, it is important to label it correctly. Most documents we request are the test results. So you would go in, genetic test results, hit browse. I'm just going to use my picture for something right now and hit upload. You can upload as many genetic test results as you need to. So if you have, for the patient who has PMS, you have the parents, you have a sibling, more the better. If the patient had multiple genetic tests, if they had a microarray done, they had FISH done, all of that would be important to know. So more is better. So once you upload it, you can, like I said, you can keep uploading more. Just make sure it always defaults back to consent form. So just make sure each time you click genetic test results again. So then when you're done uploading everything, you can hit done. And then you go down the documents, and now there's a genetic test result there. So we click there, and click that, and you can open it. Ta-da! That would be your genetic test result. But I accidentally uploaded a photo of myself. I clicked the wrong thing, so you can hit that trash can. Are you sure you want to remove this file? Okay. And then you can go back and add what you need to add. Any questions on that coming through? That's sort of your profile page. Again, questionnaires at the top, documents, account information. We went through all three of those. So I'm going to sort of now just run through the tabs up here. So home, we saw this is where you first logged in. This is where the green button was to create the page initially, but it's gone now because we created one. This is where you can go and just do the informed consent. This won't tell you what your answers are to it. This is strictly just the questions and answers for the consent form. So if you just wanted to see what the consent form contains, that's a place you can find it. Understanding your participation, which was that first document it took us to when we first clicked that green button to register. So this is the information about the registry, the questions and answers, so you can find them there if you wanted to read those. And this is the contact information. Again, my email to get to me. This is just some general information about the registry, about Phelan-McDermid syndrome. There is more on the foundation page than on the registry page, more in detail. This goes in a little more detail about the research. So if you had questions about different clinical trials and things like that, that's a good place to get some basic information. This is a quick little blurb about the foundation. Staff profiles, we're working on updating. I'm not on there I'm not on there yet, and Rebecca still is, who's not with us anymore. So hopefully that will be done soon. Then this was the initial one when I hit about. The instructions for the registry we have on English, Spanish, and French. When you click that, it sort of runs you through what I've been showing you, what to click, where to find different things. So step-by-step guide. That's there if you ever need it. The explore function, I'm going to come back to. I like this function a lot. Again, that's the profile page that takes you to your entry. Clinical trials, so information about clinical trials, understanding clinical trials. There's information, question, answers about different research projects. Trial seeking participants is a little outdated right now. But there's also a glossary. The glossary is pretty amazing. So it has all different genetic counseling type words, medical words that you might come across, and just, you know, what is 2,3 syndactyly? So it's just a place to go, you know, if you're reading through your genetic reports or medical notes and see something you don't know, this could be a potential good way to find a reliable answer. So I really like that function, and it has a search to search for terms too. The help page is in multiple languages as well, as you can see. And so this has frequently asked questions about the registry. So this is, it's not accepting my login information. What can I do? Information about using browsers. And this is a good place if you just want to learn more. Oh yeah, if my child is under 12, am I supposed to answer the adolescent questionnaire? No, it's for 12 and older. So this just has some basic information that might be helpful to you. Again, my contact information is at the bottom. And then the log out button is pretty self-explanatory. Logs you out of the registry. So now I want to go to the explore function, but I want to show you, because I did not complete a questionnaire yet, I don't have access to it. So once you complete a questionnaire, you'll have access to the explore function. So see, I'm only 13% done the clinical questionnaire. I didn't even start the developmental. So it wants me to complete that before I get to see this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to log out. I'm going to log in as myself because I have access to it, and I want to show you the explore function. So the explore function is really great. It has a lot of different things for you to look at. How many people in the registry? 1,316. Where are they located? So it's a map of the world to show you where everyone is. All de-identified, so you won't know who it is. You just know that there's people in all these different countries. Then if you had a specific question, you wanted to see what everyone else answered related to reflux, for example. You can click that. Has your child had episodes of reflux in adolescence or adulthood? So 38 people provided 38 responses. So that's 100% of people who did it responded. And 15 said no, and 23 said yes. I don't know if that's different enough to make any conclusions, but it's interesting to see. Then if you had questions about sleep, you could click sleep. I'm just picking different ones. Has a child ever had sleep apnea? No, most have not, but 89 did, and 123 are not sure. So these are just interesting to look at to see, where do my answers compare with everyone else's? Sometimes people have used this to help doctors or physicians understand what's going on, why they're asking for different tests, what they're worried about. If your child's having night terrors, or so did 78 other people. So maybe it's something relevant to PMS. So maybe they should look at that more. Just giving you some information to sort of compare with other people. Nothing is set in stone in this. This is sort of literally just what was entered into the registry and comparing your answers with what everyone else answered. So it's very interesting and useful, but you can't make definitive phenotype, genotype, so what the patient's presenting with versus their genetic results. You can't sort of make definitive conclusions, but it's definitely interesting and useful when you're talking with doctors who might not know much about Phelan-McDermid syndrome. So this is really my favorite function for families in the registry. It's really interesting to go through. Like I said, if you just have questions, you're like, my child's having this issue. Is it related to PMS? Let me see what other people answered. So that was pretty much everything I wanted to go through. And time-wise, that's about how long I wanted to take. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them and go through the registry and answer.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let's see, now is the time if anyone has questions. I know one just came through, but if there are any others, feel free to ask. One question that came in is, I'm not sure if I'm in the foundation, the registry, or both. How can I tell?
Okay, so that's important to know. So the registering for the registry, enrolling in the registry, and then signing up for the foundation, it's two different things. So there are two different websites. The foundation, I'm not sure who you would have to go to double check, but for the registry, you could email me, and I can always check if you can't figure out if you're already in there. Because I would rather you check with me, because we do not want duplicate accounts, because again, sort of like that test account I mentioned before, having a duplicate can really cause confusion when we're trying to make inferences from the data. So it's important to know if you're in there or not before you register. So my email was that coordinator one, but you can also email me at, I'm actually going to type it in here so you can see it, Brittany@pmsf.org. That goes directly to me. So if you ever have questions, want to know if you're in the registry, you can email me straight there.
Great. Okay, so I know one thing that also might help. I'm going to take back the screen for a second. Let's see if I can do this. And I'm going to show everyone. Okay, so there is this really fantastic infographic that was created to show people the difference between joining the membership and enrolling in the registry. So that's some terminology we're kind of starting to use to really make that differentiation. So if you go to pmsf.org/family-support/membership_registry, you can also just search it on Google. You'll get this great infographic, which will walk you through what the difference is. So the membership we call the foundation, which you would join through pmsf.org, and enrolling in the registry is more research focused. I can scroll through this. I'm not going to go through the details, but it's kind of fun to read and understand the differences here. And we can also send this out via email, and it's clickable. So if you want to click to join the foundation, it'll send you directly to the membership page to join. And if you want to enroll, you can also click that link. So this is a really good way to help understand the differentiation. You can also get this infographic just from the front page of the website. So there should be a link taking you directly there. Scrolling down, we can kind of see the numbers. These we try to update quarterly, so every 3 months. Right now, let's see, when was this last updated? This was July, so there's going to be a little bit of update since then. There are 1,949 total PMS individuals that we know of. That's a combination of both the membership and the registry. Again, we really want to encourage people to join both the foundation and the registry. Some people, as this question, kind of shows, there's a lot of confusion about the difference. If you're not sure, please email Brittany, me, or Diane Linehan, and we can help get that information, and we can show those email addresses afterwards. So we know of 751 people who are only in the foundation. We know of 885 people who overlap, who are in both the membership and the registry, so both in the foundation and the registry. And then there are 313 people that are only in the registry. Because of privacy that people have requested, kind of the confidentiality, as well as who can and can't see research information, and how people have asked to be contacted, we can't directly contact certain people and say you're in this and not that, so you need to come and ask us if there is confusion. So this is something that we're trying to make clear and educate everyone on. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Okay, so hopefully that is clear. I'm going to send this back to Brittany's screen.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Okay, so just in case you have any specific walkthrough questions. Okay, great. Questions. Okay, we have one question that has come in. Is there a place to add any information about vaccinations or vaccination records?
If you wanted to put in records, you could put it in for the documents. You could put it as other if you wanted it uploaded. We do not have any questions in the questionnaires for vaccination specifically, asking about if they're vaccinated or not and when that happened. We do not have those in the questionnaires. I think they were, but they're not anymore. And we don't think that's going to be useful at this time.
Okay, great. Next question. I think you mentioned this, but I think this is also good to reiterate. Does it matter how the genetic reports are named when you upload that file? So I'm going to let Brittany jump in about this. The attachment type, we want to make sure it's reflecting as close to possible what it is you're uploading. So if it's a genetic test result and then choose file, I don't think it matters, and Brittany can jump up with this. Can jump in with this if there's anything that she wants to update with, but as long as it's clear, kind of, I would recommend putting your name and possibly a date, but overall it doesn't matter. What really matters is the attachment type and making sure that that is really reflecting what it is that you're uploading. Okay, next question that came in. If we register, will we automatically be contacted if there's any opportunity to participate in a clinical trial, either an existing one or a new one? Okay, that's a really great question. So let's see if I can go to my consent page and I can show you kind of what it is that you need to make sure you click on. Okay, so let's go to my account information. Okay, so your consent question. There is a question here. The question number 4, I would like to be contacted if you become eligible for a clinical trial. So how this works is researchers will reach out to our staff and they will say, we are doing a clinical trial and we would like to contact families or recruit subjects who meet XYZ criteria. So males between the ages of 5 and 15, women between the ages of 25 and 50. And if you meet that criteria and you have indicated yes to this question, you will hear from either probably Brittany or one of the foundation or registry staff. You will not hear directly from the researcher until you tell us that's okay. So if you want to be contacted, make sure number 4 is checked as yes. And then if you meet the criteria, you will get contacted. If you're not in that age range, you will not be contacted. If you don't live in a geographic area, you won't be contacted. So if you don't hear, make sure that number 4 is checked off as yes, and you need to meet the criteria. Some may be from, distance, and it doesn't matter where you live, but oftentimes a lot of researchers will want families in specific geographic areas. Maybe it's close to the hospital or wherever they're doing research. So that could be a criteria as well. So you don't need to reach out to us unless you're concerned about how you answer the consent question. You should be contacted given your eligibility. Brittany, I think you're back. I think
yes.
We can hear you. So if you want to take over.
Sorry about that. I called in because I don't know why my computer keeps cutting out. Okay, so I don't know if you finished. Okay. So I was where I was, and I think you were able to answer some of the questions, which is great. Attachment type is what matters. It does not matter what goes into the file name. So whatever you have it saved on your computer is fine, because we're going to look at all the ones that say genetic test results. So it's really attachment type that's important.
Okay. Okay, question. If there's a trial that was open, but it's not new, but we weren't part of the registry before the trial started, could we still be contacted and engaged in that trial?
You might be. So if we contacted everyone, I'm just picking random months. If we contacted everyone in January and you signed up in February, we're not going to necessarily backtrack and see who was new and who wasn't in at that time. But we often will do, at the request of the researcher, we'll send out our reminder email. So like if we send out the reminder email in March and you signed up in February, you would get it. So that's sort of how it's been working. If there's ever any question, obviously, again, email me is always the best way. If you did know about a trial, we have started to try to post more information different places. So if you happen to come across it on Facebook group or the newsletter or the blog, you don't necessarily have to go through me to enroll. You can contact the researchers directly through that information on the post if you qualify, and they will help you determine if you're qualified for the study or not.
Excellent. Okay, any other questions? I'm not seeing anything else come through. Just wanted to give it another minute if anyone thinks of something. In the meantime, here are some important emails. Let's see.
Oh, yes, perfect.
Okay, so here are some important email addresses. I have Brittany's email address. I have my email address, and I also have Diane Linehan, who works for the foundation. She's mom to Courtney, and she runs a lot of our family support programs. She did a fabulous job with the website, and she and Jen Randolph work very closely related to foundation membership. So if you have questions about that, you can reach out to her. I think that's it. So thanks everyone for joining. This will be recorded, and it has been recorded and will be posted. And feel free to email any of us with questions, and please fill out the evaluation that will be sent out after this. It really helps us understand what worked, what didn't, and how we can serve you all moving forward. So thank you again, and have a wonderful rest of the week.